There's just no easy way to start this one, is there? RTD is back. Oh my god, this is very strange. I do not know how I feel about this. I mean, god, it's exciting. It's radical. It's just completely unexpected and unprecedented. I did have a bit of an inkling that, oh my god, this might happen. Just about 5 minutes before the news came out. The news came out about 3:15 on Friday the 24th of September, the day I'm recording this. And about 5-10 minutes before, RTD had done an Instagram post with an image of him, a cartoon of like his forehead, looking up to Gallifrey in the background, this cartoon image. And underneath in the caption, I think it said something like, "Big news coming 3:15, keep your eyes peeled." Then obviously that went across to Twitter. A lot of people were saying, "Oh my god, could it be?" And yeah, it was. And I don't know how to start with this. I really don't. The first place I saw it, I guess, let's start with that. After that, the first place I saw the news was a tweet from Lizo Mazimba, and I couldn't believe it. As I say, people had been saying, "Could it be? Could it be?" And yeah, it was there, right in front of you. RTD is back, and I just genuinely, it was like those accounts on Twitter that are sort of parody accounts for the official account, and they sort of pretend to be the official account, and so they put out tweets saying, I don't know, Joe Martin is the 14th Doctor, or whatever, all these spoof tweets that aren't real, but are made to look like they're real. This is what this felt like. It felt like an April Fool's prank or something. It didn't feel real, and it still doesn't feel real. I mean, as a point of reference, this is probably the most overwhelmed I've felt in response to Doctor Who since New Year's Day last year, with the reveal of O being the Master and Sacha Dhawan, because that just left me utterly speechless as well. It's the same sort of thing where it's like, okay, here's a thing they could do. I'm not expecting them to do that. Oh my god, they've only gone and done it. It was just, in both cases, and with this, it's the thing you would least expect the BBC to do. But at the same time, it makes so much sense. It's such a logical decision, because obviously RTD was in charge back in the day. The show is hugely successful when he brought it back, and so for him to come back now just makes a lot of sense, obviously. But then it's also hugely monumental and surprising and shocking because, in Doctor Who before, we've been quite used to one showrunner or producer or head writer or whatever being attached to one particular era and one moment in time. And this arguably is the first time that someone has come back for a second bite of the apple. This is like the second RTD era. I was saying on Twitter earlier today that, the phrase the RTD era, as in the RTD era, is redundant now. We won't be able to refer to 2005 to 9 as the RTD era because there are now, or there will be, two RTD eras, and there's been lots of funny suggestions about what to call this next era. We've had RTD2 Electric Boogaloo, I suggested that one. We've had RTD2, like the Star Wars character R2D2. We've had so much more besides, RTD Part 2, RTD The New Era, the revival of the revival, all these things. So that's unprecedented. I mean, it has sort of happened once before. Classic era fans will know that in the 80s, Barry Letts, producer from the Pertwee era, came back to produce just one season, I believe. I think it was season 18, wasn't it? So he did come back. And then also, later in the 80s, Sidney Newman was always trying to get back onto the show and do wild and wacky things, but I don't think he was sort of allowed, or it didn't align, or it didn't work out, or whatever. So it's just totally untrodden ground for the show, really, and an untapped potential. And there are so many ways it could go. I mean, I think a lot of the fan response has been very, very positive because obviously, as I say, the RTD era, I mean, for a lot of people, that's the era they grew up with, and et cetera, so it has a special place in their hearts, and me included in that, to a certain extent. I came in with Series 4, the back end of the RTD era. You do sort of wonder how it's going to work, for the 2020s. Obviously, there's so much toxicity surrounding the show these days. I can't imagine that's all sort of just going to automatically die down, and I think anyone actually who thinks that, oh, this is going to save Doctor Who, or this is going to be a return to the glory days or whatever. Anyone thinking along those lines just needs to take a step back, really, because that's not the case. It's not just going to be automatically, like 2005 to 9 again. I think that would be my only sort of reservation with this as well, that, I think RTD will need to have that sort of new vision for the show. Obviously, as I think someone else has said on Twitter, underpinned by the philosophies which made it work so well in 2005, but at the same time with that new original take for the 2020s. And, he's a very talented writer. I trust him to do that. I don't have any sort of worries about that. But that is, I suppose, my one reservation. And also the fact that I think a lot of people were sort of sensing that perhaps there'll be new blood coming into the show for the first time in a while. This happens every few years. And so we're not exactly sort of looking forwards here. We're sort of looking back a little bit. I mean, as I say, it's not going to be a rehash of the original RTD era, I'm sure. But at the same time, it is someone who's worked on the show before. And so there is that sort of sense of, I don't know, just, is this going to be new and original enough? As I say, I'm sure it will be. But that is just that other side to it, I suppose, that I feel. And I'm sure a lot of people will feel that as well with me. So RTD will be doing the 60th by the look of it, and then whatever other series come after that. It's not really been specified whether that's going to be like one series or multiple series or whatever, or if it's going to be a series in 2023 for the anniversary year. That's all ambiguous at this stage, as is details about who's going to be playing the Doctor, the companions, and all this other stuff that's going to come, the writers, the team. We do know that Bad Wolf is involved, not the Doctor Who phenomenon, but the production company, Bad Wolf, which is headed by Julie Gardner, I believe, who was an exec on the RTD era part 1, whatever we're calling it, 2005 to 2009. So that's exciting as well. It's the first time, I believe, where Doctor Who has sort of been outsourced a bit. It's going to be a co-production between them and BBC Studios, which, again, is exciting. That's the way for a lot of dramas these days. So, again, that makes a lot of sense. I've seen people saying that, are we closer to a Lydia West Doctor than ever now? Because obviously she's worked with RTD before on It's a Sin and Years. God, I would love that so much. She'd be perfect. It would be really, really, really great. I mean, obviously as well, Ollie Alexander, the favourite in the tabloids, has worked on RTD on It's a Sin as well. Although, to be honest, I don't see that happening. Maybe he could be involved in some way, but I don't think it's going to be a Doctor. I think RTD will cast a woman in the role, because he said in interviews, I believe, that if he was doing his original era again, if he was going to do things differently, he would have cast a woman. So I think he will go that way, and that's probably one of the most superficial ways in which this era will be different to the previous one. But other than that, who knows? Who knows? I mean, this is just completely taken me aback. It really has. I don't know what else to say, and so I should probably stop trying to think of things to say now and turn to you, my viewers. What do you think of this tremendously exciting news? Are you excited? Do you have reservations, or a mixture of the two a bit, like me? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you've got to say. And please do be respectful as well, because, we have still got another series coming up of the Chibnall era and of the Jodie Whittaker era. Let's not be unkind to the people that have worked on that. Let's respect that and say, we're excited for this new era, but also we're excited for what's coming up as well in the previous one. Please like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't already. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and goodbye for now. He is returning.